Hello, my name is Jason, and welcome back to I Have a Story. This is an introduction to the series of videos I'm about to start. Preceding this introduction video, there's going to be 3 more videos to explain my current situation. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. You listen to my story of my life, which I'm going to follow this with, these series of videos with. You're going to question how this could be one of the hardest things I've had to do. Just because it's something I care more about than anything in this world. My children. My rights and freedoms as a man, an American citizen. Such a beautiful morning. Tried getting out here at 8:30 this morning to start these videos. I've already talked about my neighbors. Love them to death. 8:30 this morning, already at my door. I spent my morning dry heaving, threw up once, cried a couple times. Just trying to get prepared to come out here and do this. Say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. This isn't the first time I've been here, and this is my chance of doing something different. Back when I went through this the first time, yeah, that's all that took place. I was in a very bad spot and held back from the very beginning at trying to do anything with that. And then I was told I wasn't allowed to, and that was wrong. You should always fight for your kids. One of the struggles I have right now, my neighbor, I understand his pain. He went through it before and he lost. He keeps fighting me, telling me not to do it. Just let him go. No, I won't let my kids go. I won't. I love my children. They're my world. Speaking of my neighbor, there he is now. Back again. I hear him calling my name. Hiding out in the woods, trying to do these videos. And a part of doing them here, it's a place I love because this is my kid's favorite climbing tree right behind us. They love playing here. This is one of the places I come to pray. Because it's a place of peace for me. It's quiet. Other than my neighbor's calling my voice, he's still yelling my name. So I'm making a series of 3 videos. State my current situation. Because I need help and I don't know how else to do it. And in my situation, I don't know what else to do. Back when I went through this the first time, we didn't have technology and social media like we do now. So this is my attempt to do it differently this time. I'm not letting my kids go and let them continue to be abused and harmed. I'm not. Oh, he just started his car. I hear him leaving. God, I love that man, but so my first video, this is my first series of videos. I'm gonna title them all Series 1. This is Series 1 intro. This is an introductory as to what these next 3 videos are about. The first one's gonna be titled Series 1, The Marriage. I used to have a business repossessing houses. And I was repossessing a house one day, and this little dog come up yelling, nipping at my ankles and barking at me. I hear a woman yelling for the dog to come back. When I looked over, I couldn't believe who I saw. It was my childhood sweetheart, the woman that I loved as a kid. 14, 15 years old, we'd spend hours on the phone crying and pining over each other. This is the one woman I truly loved. When she saw me, she jumped in my arms, wrapped her legs around me, wrapped her arms around me, and squeezed me as tight as she could. Her words for me, I feel like I'm home now. She told me she was married, had a cheating, abusive husband, and was throwing him out. Me being the guy I was, the sucker that I am, I fell for it. When I found out later on that wasn't the truth. She was the one abusing him and cheating on him. And then she did it to me. The only difference is her and I have two beautiful little kids together, and they don't deserve any of this. I fought for years trying to get help. I went to every service I could find, and nobody would help me. Even with evidence, even with cops, sheriffs, state troopers, me calling 911 and them coming to our house and seeing it firsthand going, she's nuts, get out of here, take those kids and run away. Even counselors have seen it in their office and told me, get away from her, take those kids and get away. I refuse to accept that, and I told them that you're a counselor, you're supposed to help families, not run away. You're supposed to keep them together, fix them. Isn't that the job of a counselor and a psychologist? That's what I thought. No. Get away. I told him I refuse to accept that. I love this woman. We have two beautiful kids together, and I want to keep this family together. And I tried to seek help. When I sought help, even when the enforcement came to my house and said, these are the orders I want you to follow. Go down to the station and file for a mental health order to be put out. Sign the papers. Sign the. They told me that they wouldn't take her away. They would put the state in our family, and our state would be out here on weekly, daily, whatever it took basis to get help. So I went down to the sheriff's department, told them what I was told and what I was there to do, and they refused to do it. So look, I just had this officer at my house. He saw it. Said, this is what you need to do. We're tired of dealing with this. And they still refuse to do it. And that's not the first time I've been in the sheriff's department, and I have even been threatened. I went in there in tears, trying to get the mental health order to be put out, trying to get help through the system, the way I'm legally supposed to do it. And not only did he not do it, I told him I'm here to sign the papers. We need to do something. I got kids. My kids are in danger. I'm in danger. Something needs to stop. And instead he looked at me and said, because I told him, I said, I don't want to do this to my wife. I love her, and I don't. I mean, who wants to even be in this situation, let alone have to do the things you've got to do in these situations? And it's part of me making these videos to share my story so you don't go through it too. Instead of helping me, he said, you said you don't want to do it, so we're not going to do it. And if she hurts those kids again, we're going to blame you for it, and we're going to come after you for it. We're going to take her away for hurting those kids. We're going to arrest you for not stopping it, and we're going to take those kids. I told him I'm here to sign the papers, give them to me. And that'll all be documented on the sheriff's department's video cameras and records. They didn't want to help. So now we're even further. My children are even further in harm's way. So my first video is going to be Series 1, the marriage, and it's going to be the history. The second video is going to be Series 2, the preposterous PP order. Because not only did I go out seeking help, I'll show you proof that she went through my phone, found out that I was seeking help. And not only would nobody help me, Department of Human Services, the Domestic Abuse Hotline, Children's Services, the Sheriff's Department, the court, the friend of the court, I've been through them all. And nobody would help me. And in the end, in this past year, I've gone back and sat down and talked to all of them. All of them, even the sheriff. I had 2 meetings with the sheriff. And they all said the same thing. When a man's being abused by a woman and children are being abused by a woman, we don't take it serious. Well, these kids' mom have an absolute lifelong documented history of mental illness, severe abuse, cheating on every single husband she's been with, and I'm the third that I'm aware of at 44 years old. Her third divorce was filed because of documentedly, undeniably, this is why. I mean, how do you stay married to somebody who abuses you and abuses your kids? Somebody you know has cheated on you. Not only did I know it, and I never said a word about it, I just ate it like a man. Still laid in bed next to that woman every night, other than now I know that reason she wasn't laying in bed next to me because she's up at night on the computer meeting guys. And did it for years, not only to me, but to her first husband, in which it's documented in her divorce. She was pregnant with another man's baby in her first marriage. I know as a fact, it's documented, she cheated on her first husband 3 times. I know she cheated on her second husband, and it was with me. I fell for it. I felt bad. I loved that woman. I'd have never done it with anybody else. Never have, never will. I got involved. So I'm staying at her house right off the bat because she's claiming he's going to come hurt them and he's such a threat. Let me ask you, how many people out there could stay married to your spouse, lay in bed night after night with your spouse? Try to love your spouse when you know they've cheated on you. What if you went through, got your spouse a gift, and then a couple months later saw that gift sitting there and looked at it? I realized in with that gift was your spouse's ex. Their phone, love notes from him, 9 years later in our house, in a gift that I got for her, and that's where she was hiding it. Why would you hold on to that for 9 years? Not only did I find this, I went through it. He wasn't the one cheating on her and abusing her. She was the one abusing him, and I have several ways to prove that. And then running off and telling everybody he was the one doing what she was doing to him, that he was the one doing it to her. That's part of the severe mental illnesses that she has. She did it in her first marriage. She did it in her second marriage. Now she did it in her third. Maybe she's been married more than that. Who knows? I mean, with this woman, I don't really even know what's true and what's not, other than what's documented. I have more documentation to prove my case and to prove evidence on a person than any professional has ever seen who has worked on this case, has ever seen, come close to seeing in their entire life. So the absolute vast majority of the evidence I'm going to present to you over these videos is going to be in the second video, and that's, if you watch any of them, that's the one I ask you to watch. It's called the preposterous PP order. And I'm going to show you, not only did I prove her wrong, undeniably, and even in closing the judge asked if she had any evidence, and she said no, I provided 118 documents that proved that she was lying, including a recording of a day she claimed that I was abusing her. She was the one abusing me, hitting me, threatening me, doing it with our 2-year-old daughter in my arms, which I have it recorded happening. I called 911 because I was trying to get my kids out of here safely. I have the whole incident recorded, and I'm going to play it for you. I played it for the judge. He still didn't care. Didn't care that she was the one abusing me. Didn't care that she was the one lying in the video itself. Didn't care she falsified court documents and falsely accused me. Instead, they still sided with her. And there's what's very wrong with that? Well, that empowered her to go out and commit more crimes against me. To use that paper and that, look, judge even said he's dangerous. That's even on court documents now, that I'm so dangerous because the judge granted a PP order, found me guilty. I had an attorney who did nothing for that case. I presented him with 118 documents because she provided 4 pages of false accusations that every professional person who's looked at said there's nothing even here that warrants a PP order. beating pigs with frying pans. Why would I beat a pig with a frying pan? That's just one of my neighbor thinks it's hilarious. He laughs about it on a weekly basis. Comes up with some sort of joke he can throw that into. So then she went and interfered with my life and broke the PP order herself multiple times, threatening me, yelling at me, abusing my children, all to try to push me over the edge. Who uses their own children as manipulative tools to try to cause pain and harm and hurting those kids? Any parent who does that and do their own kids does not deserve to be around children, period. And I'm going to show you between just our two families what a documented history shows what this does to children and why it's so important that this stops. And then my third video is going to be series 1, the divorce. And I'm going to show you how she still continues to use those children, abuses those kids just to get to me. And even more than just abuses those kids to get to me. Oh my God, what she has done to these children is horrible. But yet the system still supports her because she's a woman. I have zero criminal history, none. I haven't even had a speeding ticket in, 25 years? I have nothing but a history of helping people in a community and neighbors and everybody I can. Being a good father, I was the stay-at-home dad. I'm the one who raised those kids. I spent every day with them. God, I miss them so much. It's March 2nd, so 2022 is the last time I've got to see my kids. I put those kids to bed every night. Every night I put those kids to bed. And in part it started right after my daughter was born. I put my son to bed then, but I just read him a story, maybe snuggle with him a little bit. He's a year and a half old. This is part of the mental illness. I'm laying in bed with him. He's telling me, Dad, I'm scared. Will you lay with me? Will you leave the light on? I'm scared there's a monster in my closet. And I said, buddy, there's no monsters. And if there were monsters, Daddy's here to protect you. She happened to be walking by his bedroom door at that time. Kicked the door so hard she put the doorknob through the wall. You can go back to that house and look, there's a hole in the wall behind the door. I fixed it, put door catches on all the doors because she would slam and bang and break and so much stuff that I got tired of fixing stuff. She kicked open the door and walked in there and said, there are 2 effing monsters. There's effing monsters in your mom and there's effing monsters in your dad. Is that what you say to a kid who's a year and a half old crying because there's monsters in his closet? I laid in bed with that kid every single night since then until he fell asleep every single night. I woke up with those kids every single morning. Same routine. My son hits the ground with his feet running. My daughter likes to sleep in and snuggle. And my son would wake up, make him breakfast, and my daughter would follow right out behind him. Daddy, let's snuggles. We'd lay back down in bed and snuggle for about 20 minutes. She'd curl up in a little ball and put her head right here. And then she'd get up and I'd make her breakfast. I miss them. And I had, since March 2nd of 2022, I've got to see him for a total of 2.5 hours. A half hour while her mom and her come to get her stuff, and her mom didn't make it about seeing their dad that they hadn't seen in months. They made it about taking more stuff from the house. Right after she left, I mailed the kids some of their favorite toys, including my daughter's dollhouse that their mom had just broke 2 days before she ran out the door, claiming that I abuse her and the kids again. I will prove to you that that is completely wrong. I mean, there's no way anybody can deny it in the end of this. But also in the divorce, I had an attorney. He needs his license taken away. and I'm going to fight to get it done. I'm not the only person I found out now that he has done this to through all the research and the professional help I've had with all this. Not only did he not do his job, he had the judge order a date because he wasn't doing his job, and the judge wanted to know why. But my attorney told me there was no court date. Apparently, he knew it was coming and didn't want me there to see it. I just happened to have a counseling appointment that day right down the road from the courthouse. And she advised me, my counselor, go in there and find out what's going on. So I did. I actually recorded that whole entire event. Found out there was a court date that very morning. My attorney told me it didn't exist. He lied to me multiple times throughout the entire trial because he did not want to face her. He didn't want to go against her nonsense and garbage. He didn't want to deal with her. If you can't, you're in a position of power to protect innocent victims and children, and you can't handle it, get out. You don't deserve it. Especially if you're going to cross lines of morals and values and lie to your client over it. Not only do I have two professional people who have witnessed it, I have documents showing it. I can only share so much with all of this, and I will prove enough to show you, I hope. I can't lay all my cards on the table right now. But he lied to me and totally ruined my whole entire case. Cost me my kids. We filed complaints against him through the divorce. Nothing was done. Filed complaints with him after the divorce. We're still waiting to hear something. Filed grievance against him after the divorce. Still waiting to hear on that. Requested different counsel and was denied throughout this process. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I will say this repeatedly through my videos. You want to know why children eat Tide Pods and don't know any better? This is absolutely no more common, less common sense than that is. Children know and learn and see and become what they grow up around in their environment. And when they see nonsense, they're going to grow up to be nonsensical, right? I mean, part of why the world's going to hell. These generations have gotten more nonsensical throughout the entire process. Generation after generation after generation. We cancel morals, we cancel values, we cancel everything. All in sake of people's greed is what it boils down to. It's about greed. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and that should never, ever change. Never. Nobody should ever hit anybody. Nobody should ever abuse anybody. Nobody should be abusing children, and the people who are there supposed to stop it should. So that's what this is right here is all about. It's stopping it. It's saving my kids. Fighting for my rights and my freedoms that have been wrongfully denied. Empowering people to continue creating crime and harm and endangering children. God, this doesn't make any sense to me. Especially when it's so provable. Even in that PPO order, judge asked, do you have any evidence? Nope. She said no, she don't need it. She's a woman. I proved her wrong. And the judge still said, don't care. We're still going to side with her. Which then empowered her to continue committing crimes against me. Breaking the PPO order. Abusing my children. All of which was turned over to my attorney throughout the entire process, and he did nothing. Not filed a single, he didn't stop file nothing for nothing. When I first hired the guy, he was supposed to be filing for emergency custody of my kids right off the bat and never did it. Obviously, March 2nd, that's the last time I've got to have my kids. So far, I've spent 2.5 hours with my children, a half hour through while their mom was here making it about them taking their stuff. When I mailed them their favorite toys and their mom threw them in the trash because I gave it to them. I even rebuilt my daughter's dollhouse that their mom had just broke and mailed it to my daughter, which she was ecstatic. God, she was ecstatic. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. That was so great. Mom immediately took it away and threw it in the trash. Can't have anything nice that Dad did for you. I'm here to stop it. I'm tired of it. I'm not doing this again. I'm not having my kids raised like this again. I've been such a good person my whole life trying to do so good. And I am tired of being demonized wrongfully, provably wrongfully. I have a whole box of evidence from my first divorce who another woman who got diagnosed as being bipolar. That'll be a video for another day. I've been so blessed to be married to two bipolar women, and I didn't diagnose them. They were professionally diagnosed. Only this one is far worse and far I can't even believe what I was married to. Complete history of psych wards. Here's a book she stole from the psych ward in 2020 when she ran off claiming that I was abusing her and the kids and she needed help. She went to the abused victim shelter here. I had already talked to a woman who was associated with the abused victim shelter, and she had already met with my kids, me, 3 times before my wife at the time ran in and claimed that I was abusing her and the kids. She said the shelter wouldn't do anything against me because she had already known the truth. I'd already been showing her the evidence of what was going on those 2 weeks leading up to that day. I recorded her waking me up because I don't record us going to bed together, but if we're sleeping in 2 different quarters, there's a reason. And I've been warned of the dangers I'm in being with her. I recorded her the day before she went into the abused victim shelter claiming I was abusing her, with her waking me up, hitting me, threatening me, yelling at me, screaming at me. I didn't fight her back. I got up and picked her flowers twice that day. I loved her, cared for her, did everything I could. I don't know what more I possibly could have done. I got out of bed. I didn't yell and scream back, didn't call her names. I don't do that. That's not who I am. I don't ever do that. That's nonsensical. Hi, Marley. Hi, puppy dog. I've had a very, very tough life, and I think it's what's made me educated and strong enough to sit here before you today, and it's what gave me this idea 4 years ago to create this channel. I'm not a person who just goes, that's crazy, and walk away. I try to learn it. I try to understand it, accept that it exists. I don't know how anybody could do much better of a job than I have. I know more than probably most professionals out there know and understand and have learned. I don't ever, nothing on anything will I ever say I know it all. There's always more to learn. God, I love my kids and I miss them. And this is my battle. This is my fight. I stand up for my children and my rights. They don't deserve this anymore, and neither do I. So I'm going to ask you, please, please watch these videos. In the end, I don't think you'll have any doubt. I don't know how you could, but it's easy for me to say because I've been living it and I know exactly what happened. I sat there and watched it, but not only did I watch it, I recorded it for many years. And then over time, found more and more documentation, like the time I knew she cheated on me. I knew it, but I just denied it in my own head. Well, when she took off last year, I found her old phone. She didn't even delete the text messages out from her phone from the guy, blowing each other kisses in the middle of the night, 5 o'clock in the morning, while I'm laying in bed with the kids and taking care of the kids and staying up all night with the kids. She's meeting men. Even right after our daughter was born, she was doing it. This happened right after our daughter was born. She did the same thing in her first marriage. And I really loved this woman. Now I'm beating myself up going, how could you love this? Even my pastor at church, he's been asking me, how could you love that? Jason, I don't think you know what love is. I think I do. I mean, you're supposed to love and care about somebody so much you'd do anything for them. I stood by that woman's side and protected her while the people that I turned to who did want to help me, they just wanted to take her away and lock her up, I wouldn't let it. Was I wrong? I don't know. I really don't. I'm standing here today. I really can't tell you. Was I right or wrong? Do you incarcerate the person you love? Your partner in life? Your children's parent? I still stand here today, and I mean, yeah, if I would have handled things differently, it would have more than likely turned out different. Those people who wanted to take her away, maybe I should have let them, but I couldn't because I loved her. Now I see the dangers. Now that it's too late, like always, hindsight, right? Now, is it too late? I don't know. That's what I'm here to find out. To put up my fight. My children are still little, and while they've been harmed, and it has affected them greatly, and I will show you how it has affected them greatly throughout this process. These 3 videos will show you what it's done to them, and I will give you a complete history of what it's done to our older children, her older kids. It's been absolutely horrible, horrible, horrible. Horrendous. I mean, horrendous. One of those kids are no longer with us. I'm not letting it happen to mine. I'm not. I pray to God you'll stand behind me and help me fight for them. Because in my situation, I don't know what else to do. But I know I love them and I'm not going to give up. So please watch my videos and please help support me. Please help me fight for my kids because I will prove to you this is all wrong. This is one of the most chaotic stories you're going to hear. My God, my counselor, she's like, I've never heard anything or seen anything like this before, especially from all the professional people throughout the whole entire process. I don't know what else to say right now. But I need to really work and focus on getting these done and out to you and get this over with. It's been something I've been dreading every time I think about it. Oh, the anxiety is through the roof. I've been troubling and shaking all day, trying to get myself started on this. Here we go.